Hello and welcome to the news at noon on Human Rights Radio 101.1 FM Abuja. My name is Oikike Igado Kure. The headlines this hour. President Muhammadu Buhari attends Ghana's 61st independence anniversary. U.S. Secretary of State to meet President Buhari in Abuja this week over security issues. Bengasin says fuel situation in the country is a national embarrassment. And in sports, NFF wants $2.8 million for Super Eagles participation at the Russia 2018. Another news in full. President Muhammadu Buhari is today heading for Accra, Ghana, to attend the country's 61st independence anniversary celebrations holding on Tuesday. A statement by the Special Advisor on Media and Publicity, Femi Adesina, said the president will use the opportunity to reaffirm the long-standing relations between the peoples and governments of both nations. Buhari, according to the statement, will also underscore Nigeria's commitment to strengthening the bilateral ties in furtherance of democracy, good governance, and overall development of the African continent. The president will return to Abuja after the celebrations on Tuesday. As the search for the 110 schoolgirls abducted by Boko Haram in Dapchi, Yobe State intensifies, the United States government says its Secretary of State, Rex Tillerson, would visit Nigeria and some other African countries this week over terrorism challenges in the continent. The search for the missing schoolgirls had been extended to the neighboring countries of Chad, Niger, and Cameroon. Speaking on Tillerson's visit, the spokesman for the U.S. State Department said on his first official trip to Africa, Tillerson would travel to Chad, Ethiopia, Nairobi, and Nigeria. The United States government had said it believes that the attack on Dapchi might have been carried out by ISIS West Africa and not Boko Haram as widely believed. Meanwhile, the medical charity Medicines Sans Frontières, MSF, has suspended its work in the Nigerian town of Ran and evacuated nationals and international staff after a deadly raid by Boko Haram guerrillas. Suspected Boko Haram gunmen killed 4 Nigerian aid workers in an attack on a military barracks in the town in Borno State. MSF said at the weekend that the attack is a stark reminder that it is the people in Borno who are paying the price of the ruthless conflict. It noted that leaving patients without medical assistance is an extremely painful decision that must be taken. President Muhammadu Buhari had condemned the attack on humanitarian workers in Iran, saying more than ever it showed the Boko Haram insurgents and described them as godless, brutish, and utterly to be despised. Ahead of the 2019 general elections, the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, says it has embarked on cleanup of the voter register and has so far delisted 299 foreigners. Speaking in Abuja the weekend, Chairman of INEC, Professor Mahmood Yakubu, said this was done on the basis of information received from the Nigerian Immigration Service, NIS. The issue of foreigners who register and vote on the false pretense that they were Nigerians is what has worried a lot of people lately.
It's not that the borders are porous or anything. They are doing it deliberately just to influx these people to come and give them vote. They will undermine the people in the country because they have some hope somewhere. That's why they don't care. But if we are very, very serious, we tighten our borders, then why are we going to look for foreigners to put us to power? Which means we are not sure of ourselves, because if you are sure of yourself, where you come from, your people will love you to run because they have seen the quality in you.
If we are to move forward, the security agencies to tighten up their loose end appoint people that are willing to work and to do their best for this country by appointing them in those loose ends. Majorly speaking is the border. And equally, for those who have the voters card, I'm encouraging them to come out in mass and vote.
Borders, I don't think the government is doing enough because the security is not there. If the security are there, are they flying from air? If they are flying from air, I think we have Air Force. If they are coming from the land, we have customs. They are not very, very effective. The security agents has to sit up because if these things continue, I don't know where this country is going.
To this end, the INEC chairman said the commission had agreed with Nigerian Immigration Service to deploy their personnel to registration centers nationwide to ensure that only Nigerians register to vote in the election. Nigerians have expressed concerns about the conditions in prisons across the country and called for urgent measures to decongest the facilities. There are reports that prison and detention center conditions remained harsh as majority of inmates have not been tried. This has resulted to gross overcrowding, food and water shortages, inadequate medical treatment as well as infrastructure deficiencies, among other things. Those who spoke with Human Rights Watch in Abuja called for review of the entire criminal justice system to ensure that prisons are decongested and those who must serve prison terms are reformed and not dehumanized.
The weight of the responsibility still lies on the executive. It's the body language of the executive that the judiciary follows. So if the judiciary are serious to decongest the prisons and make cases to run fast, I think the judiciary will follow suit and they will give them orders. And some constitutional undertone that is delaying some cases. If all these things is being resolved, there is a kind of an amendment and everything, I think that the prisons will be congested.
Our prison system in the country is in a condition where it is over congested by inmates. A lot of them just are waiting trial. Some of them have stayed for over years and more are still being thrown into the prison. The prisons are not being expanded. It is just the same old prisons that have been there for a long time. The same structure, the same size, the same old facilities. I mean, these prisoners are human beings, and I give thumbs up to Kaduna State about prison decongestion of Kaduna State. Human rights lawyer went to some prisons in Kaduna and the prisons were decongested so that there will be space. It is high time we started looking at putting best facilities for inmates because they are humans. Though prison is not meant for comfortability, but then at least they should be given some soft landing so that they can have good way of life.
Those people that will be there for so many years for awaiting trials, if you verify them vividly, you see that the issue that brought them there is something that they are not even supposed to spend up to 3 or 4 years. So government should look into that. They should grant some people bail based on their judgment.
Spokesman, Nigerian Prison Service, Enabore Francis, in an interview said the issues affecting condition of inmates in Nigeria are given adequate attention.
The entire prison population as of February 2018, population across the country is 71,642 for a collective space of not more than 50,000. To be specific, Port Harcourt prison built for a population of about 800 prisoners presently houses well over 4,000 prisoners. This is the same thing you see in most of the prisons that are located in urban centers. You discover that close to 80% in some prisons are inmates awaiting trial. Overall population gives you about 70% awaiting trial, 30% convict. And among those that are awaiting trial, you find some that have been there for close to 5, 6, 7, 8 years awaiting trial. The reason is the slow pace of justice dispensation. What we can do to mitigate the problem would be either to expand the association cells or to build new ones or to ensure that inmates go to court as and when due.
Petroleum and Natural Gas Workers Senior Staff Association of Nigeria, Pengosin, has described as worrisome and a national embarrassment the fuel situation in the country. It said federal government should clear all outstanding debts on independent petroleum marketers and fix the nation's refineries. The national president of Pengosin, Francis Olabode, in Warri, conversed for sustainable ways of resolving the crisis, such as payment of all outstanding differentials and outstanding debts. He said also and asked for bailout funds to independent marketers in the form of FACS subventions while long-term solutions are being worked out. As the heat wave continues to get harder in Abuja and other parts of the country, Nigerians have been advised to avoid congested areas as a means of reducing incidences of meningitis. The call became necessary because meningitis have claimed the lives of many, especially that of children in Nigeria in recent time. With the outbreak of meningitis in the FCT, Katsina, and other states across the country, some health personnel told us that stringent measures must be taken.
When there is congestion, overcrowding in the room, no cross ventilation, this is actually what causes this meningitis. So to prevent it is to allow cross ventilation. When there is ventilation, bacteria will not be able to come together, to affect air. We blow it all over. It's a sickness of heat. You know that whenever there's that congestion or there's overcrowding, definitely you feel that heat, and it's generated from that heat. So it's just like a reaction of the spinal cord to the brain where they are connected together. When there is a heat, there's that sparkling, the reaction of the spinal cord. So when there is ventilation, there is no overheat. I think there should be no meningitis.
Too much overcrowd can cause meningitis, and especially during heat time now. To avoid it, they used to immunize people against the meningitis. 9 years ago or 10 years ago, I can remember in 2012, we gave vaccine for immunization which lasts for 10 years. So we are expecting another one to come now so that we can immunize people, because when you get this vaccine, it will not affect you again. They will create awareness. This is done by National Primary Healthcare or FCT Primary Healthcare. They create awareness. They make sure that they announce all over Nigeria, especially the rural area, because this thing used to kill many in the rural area. They will tell everybody like 1 week or 2 weeks, then they will start the immunization.
The symptoms still come like malaria, typhoid. It comes in high temperature, it comes in headache. That's how it comes. Before you know, it will now begin to twist the neck or stiff the neck, because it's a defect of the spinal cord. So before you know, you begin to have a stiffness of the neck. Once any individual is diagnosed with such a condition, they should suspect it immediately and isolate such a person so that I don't pass it across to other people.
Some of the symptoms again include lack of appetite, sleeplessness, weakness of the body, fever, stiff neck, and seizures in most cases, and it is important to seek immediate medical attention. We'll now take a short break. We'll be right back. Please do stay with us. Welcome back. And on the phone scene, drivers in one of Cameroon's restive English-speaking provinces have been banned from driving at night for a month as tensions run high between government forces and separatists. The vehicles are not allowed, with the exception of ambulances as well as state and police cars. Regional Governor Bernard Okalia Bilai said the renewable ban, which entered into force at the start of the month, will remain in place for 30 days. A push for independence from the majority French-speaking country has sparked deadly unrest in Cameroon's two Anglophone provinces, home to around a fifth of the 23 million population. Dozens of people have been killed in the southwest region and northwest region, and tens of thousands have fled to neighboring Nigeria following a violent crackdown on anti-government protests. In sports, President of the Nigerian Football Federation (NFF), Amaju Pinnick, says the federation was working on generating $2.8 million for the Super Eagles' participation at the Russia 2018. Pinnick, who disclosed this during the weekend, said good financial support was necessary for the team's success in the world competition. Pinnick, who noted that Nigeria cannot afford to fail at the FIFA World Cup, also disclosed that the federation have been monitoring the performance of Super Eagles players in their respective clubs. Meanwhile, the Nigerian Football Federation is guaranteed about 2.9 billion naira, which could rise depending on how far the Super Eagles progress in the 2018 Russia World Cup. This is as FIFA disclosed the prize money to be handed to federations participating at the Russia 2018 World Cup for the group stages. That's the news this hour. But before we go, we'd like to remind you that President Muhammadu Buhari is heading to Ghana today. U.S. Secretary of State to meet President Buhari in Abuja this week over security issues. On the foreign scene, Cameroon bans nighttime driving in restive southwest. And in sports, NFF wants $2.8 million for Super Eagles' participation at the Russia 2018 World Cup. That's the news. Thank you for listening. My name is Oikeke Igado Kure.